not to illegal immigrants. So, with that, I am going to introduce Ted. Ted Hayes organized this bus trip. He became the which became the Capitol Hill Caucus to continue the work started on the trip. He's co-founder of the Crispus Attucks Brigade, CAB, and now national chair of Choose Black America, the nation's leading black-led anti-illegal immigrant organization. Ted is one of the United States foremost homeless activists. So Ted.
It's our mascot. I would like to say, first of all, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Americans.
Good morning.
Good morning, U.S. citizens, friends. Thank you, Michael, for arranging this event to organize today. Tea Party folks, thank you for inviting me and my friends here out to join you today and talk about this issue of race and so forth. It's appropriate that we are. What happened?
You lost the sound.
Wait till it goes up.
Oh, that's good. One, two, testing.
You've been cut off.
Already, huh?
NSA.
One, two. The whole thing's off.
You got a good voice.
In the meantime,
They're coming to take you away.
just want to say how appropriate it is to be having this event in Santa Monica, the People's Republic of Santa Monica.
That's right.
And also the fact that it's in the library, a place of learning. And also the fact that, ironically, it's in an auditorium called the Martin Luther King Jr. Auditorium. And as Michael mentioned, he showed you photographs earlier, that we had done a rally in downtown LA called the Promissory Note March and Rally. And we acknowledge the fact that it was 50 years ago, this August, that the Civil Rights March for Jobs and Justice was held in Washington, D.C. 50 years ago. And we kind of celebrated, well, not celebrated, but actually acknowledged it. But here we are again in Martin Luther King atmosphere. And that's how I want to share and begin the morning off. But before we go there, I want to acknowledge some people, some individuals, some people who are here with me. We expected some more panelists here this morning, and it looks like there's two, doesn't it? It looks like there's two, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right? It ain't. There's three of us up here. Yes, there is. You are my silent, visible friend. You call him your father. His son, the only one whom Americans bow our knee to. That guy? Well, he's here this morning.
All right.
And Keith Hardeen is here. Keith, would you recite for me real quick? Before we go there, I want to acknowledge some people that are here as well. James Spencer, please stand up. James Spencer is a Marine, Semper Fi.
All right.
This is the gentleman who pretty much smacked me around. Marines can punch hard. As you know, I'm an activist for the homeless, and every time I go out to the community to share, be it whatever, watch or some kind of meeting or whatever, this cat would approach me. and say, brother, we recognize what you do with the homeless, we think you're doing a great job, but what about the illegal aliens? What about the illegals? I know he was talking about, because I have a lot of friends who were in that community, in that area. And I'd ignore him and run. Every time I see him, he challenged me on that. And then finally, I had to listen to what he said. And one of the things I remember him telling me, he says, you know, read the 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment, First Act of 1866. Now, I've read that stuff, but I just read it. But I just read it. James said, Ted, people don't read. They can't read. If they do read, they don't understand what they're reading. Now, comprehending it. All these people talk about Constitution, Constitution, Constitution. They don't know the Constitution. If they knew the Constitution, illegal alienship would not be going on. So I said, oh, man. So I had to go and read. And I read. And I studied. And I talked to our invisible friend. And my eyes opened. And I was made to see that which I saw but did not want to see. You understand what I'm saying?
Amen.
You see these people everywhere. You walk into a store, you hear languages that you don't recognize. But we don't see it. We pretend it's not there because it's such an ugly thing that we have allowed to come upon our country. And upon everything that our founding fathers stood for. Upon everything that people have fought for in this country. And upon everything that 150 years ago, up to 740,000 young white boys. Now I'm not saying white boys and a white boy. I'm saying young white men, kids, teenagers, white boys died for this that's being planted. 38,000 young black boys that's get slaves free died. And I read. I understood. I decided I better stand up. And boy, when we stood up that day in the Merck Park, James Spencer and a few other brothers and sisters, we stood up out there, man. And another time we went to an embassy to talk about it, consulate office. Them people called us niggas, black ass niggas. Niggas need to go back to Africa. They will cut your MF throats, niggas. Racist, those they call us. They call us racist. Wow. When we marched downtown Broadway, they called us niggas. They called y'all hunkies, crackers. They said, y'all hunkies need to go back to Europe and take them niggas with you. When I grew up in the South, in Jim Crow, Maryland, I think white kids called me nigger maybe in my whole life, 10 to 15 times. We chase them home. Get in a fight, nigga, nigga, nigga. We chase them home. Next day, we out hugging each other, drinking out the same sort of bottles. This is the Jim Crow now. I ain't never in one day been called nigga. I think 80 times in one day. By these people who I thought were my brown brothers. We learned, didn't we, James? Also here today is Atum Ray. Atum Ray, stand up. Dr. Herbert. Dr. Herbert Baker is the gentleman. He's an activist in the community, beloved in the community, and we asked him if he would organize the bus tour because he's done these kind of things for Louis Farrakhan. So we asked him, brother, would you help us with this? And he sure enough did and pulled off a miracle of miracles. 2 bus loads over and back without no incident. It was beautiful. So please, Dr. No. Please.
This is the only bus trip where I got sued for giving a free trip.
I know. We're working on that. And stand up, Shadia. This is Shadia's granddaughter. She is becoming a media reporter, personality, journalist. What's your name? Henry, right? Henry? Larry. Say hi. Larry. Here are 2 sisters, Barbara and Doris Stevens. Please stand up, ladies. Please stand up. Barbara, she just led us into prayers on the bus and kept us praying, kept our friend, kept the Lord forefront. I tell you, I think if that was not there, we might not have had that miracle after, right? Barbara, thank you. And I don't know the gentleman. It's Howard. Howard, welcome. Howard, stand up, brother. Say hello to the crowd. Came to us recently. This guy, he's a wonderful brother. One of the few people, James, that actually knows about the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and all that. And the young brother, stand up, please. This is sit down, friend. He's an attorney, civil rights attorney, and all that good stuff. And of course, we have back in the back is Roxy. Roxy, please stand up, Roxy. Got a personality just won't quit. She kept us breaking up. Roxy, beautiful woman there. And let me see what's and of course Michael Greer, we can't. She's the best. She's the only person. So we love Michael, appreciate her for all of her leadership and things that she is doing. And I want to acknowledge Rhonda Flint, but Rhonda, stand up. One for Rhonda, I couldn't be standing there. She does a lot. She's worked with me for years. She helped with the village, the homeless in downtown LA. Great lady. Her father's been back with one of the inventors of the internet. I know, what's the guy's name? Al Gore. Seriously, and talk to Rhonda about it later. But her dad was there when the first internet project happened with Salt Lake. Rhonda, please, what were they, Rhonda, please?
It was 4 computers that first time communicated via telephone lines. And he worked on the hardware of 3 of the 4 computers. I think
and who was involved?
I think it was Salt Lake City, UCLA.
Yeah, Stanford.
Stanford or Berkeley.
And the Pentagon.
No, it wasn't the Pentagon. It was East Coast.
Oh. But anyway, her dad was there, and history will bear that out in the future. Now,
MIT.
as we move forward, Keith Hardeen is probably, in my opinion, I'm shocked. I'm shocked on the Constitution. That's what I know. Overall, I think the sharpest person, lay person that I know of in the Constitution is none other than Keith Hardeen right there.
Thank you.
And the reason why I did this, folks, introducing these folks like that, is because I want you to understand that it's not just me. There are black, I gotta get out of here, we're gonna talk. There are people who look like me, my hair, who know things. We study, we do understand. We just don't have the platforms to get out and share who we are and what we know. You see, and because of that, we're lacking. I'm hoping today, in the time that we have left, that we will be able to get to some of that. And my main concern, more than I know we can go after Barack Obama, the socialists, the Democrats, the illegal aliens, all of that stuff. I know that, but we need to understand something, Americans. All those things that are happening to us, those calamities, we deserve them. We deserve them. I know, I don't know, man. That's getting a little far out there, I know. The first document, the first law in the Constitution of the United States is what, people? Anybody know?
Freedom of association.
Freedom of speech.
We, repeat after me. We the people. Stand up, please. Everybody stand up. Stand up. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense Promote the general welfare. Secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. That, my brothers and sisters, is your oath of office. You are under the law of that. It doesn't say we, the politicians. It doesn't say they, the government. We, the, mix it up. We, the people. We, the people. You see, that's where we've gone wrong. We always, as conservatives, we want to talk about personal responsibility. Personal responsibility. We need to be allowed to take personal responsibility. Well, taking personal responsibility means ownership of something that may have gone wrong. Mr. President says, I am personally responsible. Then resign. All of them, fight, all of them. Boehner, we need a purge.
Yes.
Not a violent purge as it did in Russia, but we need a political purge. The president right through Congress. Yes. We, the people.
Yes.
And the reason why they are getting away with what they're getting away is because we, the people, have not organized ourselves as a strong supervisorship over them. They are our servants.
Right. Yes.
To allow them to become monarchs in our minds. In our minds. Legends in their minds. We can end that. It's all about the way we think. And therefore, if we are responsible as we the people, we also are under contract with the visible God. Here's how they quote the first sentence of the Declaration of Independence.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal stations to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them.
Nature's God. Not nature. God. Is that Shirley? Shirley?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Stand up, Shirley. We saw a game changer. Right there as well. You know Shirley, we saw. She traveled with us to D.C. You saw her picture. I just said, purple God. Purple. Okay, that's all right. I like that too, my sister. Nature. God. Second verse, Keith.
Okay.
Well, he says, oh, shoot. Oh, man, that's bad.
Go ahead.
We declare, no, stop. I just said this morning to myself, we're coming up here. You know how you get something on your tongue, you get the name of a person, and it's there, you know it by face, but you just can't get it out there. We therefore, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is the last part of it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, And among these, a what? A what?
Life.
What? What? Say it again. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. By the way, that's property.
Yeah, correct.
That's right. And we'll talk about that at some point. And if there is this God, Creator, which we say we believe. Now understand something. The Declaration of Independence is actually the first legal document of the nation.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, all other laws, including the Constitution, rest on what, folks? The first law.
That's right.
And that law includes God.
Yep.
He's in the center of it. Therefore, if we believe in God and His principles and His laws and His Bible, if you read the Bible, when you see invasion, corrupt leaders, economic woes, those are biblical calamities for people who are walking in rebellion with their God. And Americans, if we're going to wag our finger at other people, particularly in other countries, if we're going to criticize that what we see going wrong in the White House, then we better start thinking, wait a minute, why would God allow us or order this to happen to us? Is he trying to get our attention? I personally believe that all those calamities is God trying to get our attention to really live up to the first law of this land. I'm going to segue so we can go into this thing here. The point I want to make is that Mr. Obama and all the rest of the things we see that are wrong in this country, along the area of race, the whole Tea Party thing, is because the chattel slave race wound in this country never healed. Mr. Obama didn't cause this mess. We, the people, allowed it to come about. Dr. King said, if America does not finish this business of race and slavery and its aftermath in this country, one day we're going to have a rude awakening. What's more ruder for a nation like ours, and this is all the fervor out there, for a nation like ours to actually have someone colored in the White House presiding over the destruction of our beloved America. It looks like poetic justice when you think about it, doesn't it? Strange, isn't it? Suddenly, white people are scared, afraid of becoming slaves, afraid that their children after them will never pay off this incredible debt that this colored man has put upon us. Our country has been brought low around the world because of this colored man. Looks like poetic justice. King said we're going to have a rude awakening. And one beautiful thing about all of this is that this might be America's finest hour. Because we are, it may be rude, at least we're waking up. But when we wake up, are we going to say, well, okay, Obama's gone, we have this, we have that. But have we healed the slave race wound in the country?
Who cares?
That's the point. Because as long as you got an open wound, vector will get into that wound, bring disease, and bring you down. The Marxist, Socialist, Communist said the way they're going to take America down will be through the angry, hurt, enslaved, and Jim Crow black people. That's what they said. And it worked. Like a charm. How do we fix this? How do we stop immigration? How do we stop all this stuff that we deem as harmful to America and our children? Clean the wound, sew it up, heal it, close it.
There's no time for that.
And the vector will automatically go away.
Stop letting them poke it.
And stop letting them poke it. And that's what our group was about. The Capitol Hill National Caucus. We are the black shield of America. The reason why these people ever call you racist and bigots and all that old kind of stuff, and they're getting over with it, because you have no defense. And you know innately you don't have a defense.
Yes, we do.
Well, you're losing. Your defense is not strong enough, apparently, because they're kicking our butts.
Yes, it is strong.
You take, for example, when that Tea Party cross went up there, right? Sure, we black folks should have stood up about that. Absolutely correct. But you know who really should be standing up? The freaking Tea Party leaders. Where are they? Are they afraid of this? Yes, they are. Because they know they don't have much leg to stand on.
Whites are the minority now, and we are afraid, and we have to start organizing, and that's the problem.
And we appreciate that. And this is why we black folks are saying, ha-ha, welcome to America. Welcome to what we have already been going through.
But
We've been
already
saying
know
this.
that. We already know that.
No, we don't know that. Because if we knew that, we'll put it this way. Thanks to this lady right here, today, perhaps, something new is happening in the Tea Party conservative movement. For the first time, we're allowed to speak freely about our feelings. You're asking us to share. You may not agree, but that's okay. At least we are, in America, we're free to talk about these things.
Not for long.
Amen.
I mean, and this America right here,
Okay.
our America right here.
I'm here to talk honestly with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course. And all I'm trying to say to you, technically, logically speaking, you're right. And all your points of view, fiscal stuff, all that stuff, you're absolutely correct about. But you wonder why they keep calling you racist when you're not racist. The problem is this. There's something called omission and commission. It's one thing to do something, and another thing to not do what you should be doing. You see, what do you think would happen if one day Tea Party all over America said, we're going to have a march today, and we're going to march for black people. We're going to march till justice is done. That's when things will automatically change over. It's not so much that what you are doing, it's what you are not doing. And if you believe in the Declaration of
Everything in the world, we have to worry about the biggest issues right now. Instead of worrying about racist issues, we have bigger issues.
Does everyone know that, okay, General Electric, who controls NBC, does not pay 1 penny of income tax, you know that? And you know why? Because they outsource, to me, outsourcing jobs is like slavery, okay? They want to keep their overhead down. Check it, the top 26 corporations in this country, when you pay your income tax and you're concerned, they don't pay any income tax. Does everyone know that?
But that's not a new issue.
Okay, all right. Now, point. Okay, that is a calamity.
But why does that matter? As someone who owned a company, who sold companies,
Everybody.
even if my company never paid a cent in income tax, I employ people who pay a lot of taxes to this company.
I agree. Because, you know, when you be a boss, then you know. Because if everyone, you know, I don't like the people, you know, this country is a, you know, when you create the job, you bring the people work for you, that means help you out, but we give them a job. Without the people create the job, we have no job, and we suck with that government money. And I am from the communist country, and I will be, you know, like against in the day my death. That is we not allow to people say everyone equally about the money, because the talent and money is different issue. If we
Okay, listen, again, we're straying away from the root of the problem. The root of the problem of America is a race issue.
No, it isn't.
Excuse me,
No,
ma'am,
it
can I? That's what I'm talking about. You see, you say you want to come, you say you want to hear from us, and when we share our point of view, you say, no, it's not it. That's not what it is. Wait a minute, man. Hear us out.
And can we raise our hand and not speak out, please, just in respect for our speakers, please?
And question and answers are at the end, is that
Yeah.
not correct?
Well, I think we're ready, man. Let's go ahead.
That's fine, we can start the discussion, and we do want people to be honest about their feelings, because this is the whole point. I can show you no more respect than to treat you as I would treat anyone. And if I would speak to, you know, my children or my best friends, and I'm going to speak to all of you that way. And I want us to be open and honest, because I think too long we have kept things to ourselves. But let's show respect, and please raise your hand.
Let me see if I can bring some Novocaine into the room. Whenever Holder said in 2009, President Obama told him to say this, apparently, because he said, look, America is a nation of cowards. You know why? Because we refuse to have a deep conversation about race, and that is absolutely true. Okay. We skirted the conversation, but we never delved in. And that's not your fault, white folks. That's our fault, black folks. Our own leaders did not seize the opportunity to lead you into that conversation in a way in which you can understand and appreciate and be healed from the wound. No, we can't. In the conversations, usually, when we do have racial conversations in the past, it's been black guys telling white people, white guys, that they are racist, they're bigots, and they need to reform, they need to change. Okay? It's not a two-way conversation, it's been a one-way conversation. You know what you white guys do? Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're killing us.
Thank you.
You're killing us. So
Because we are united. We share the same vital internal organs. Yes, you're the dominant people in the nation. No one questions that part. We are the minority. No one questions that part. But see, unfortunately or fortunately, whether we like each other or not, we are conjoined twins. And if you get sick and die, white man, I get sick and die too, as a black man. And if I get sick and die, as a black man, white man, you're gonna die too. That's what it means to be America. No, okay. It's in people's minds that the white man went to Africa, invaded the continent, captured black people, put us in slave forts, slave ships, brought us to America. That's not true. You've been living under a false lie, a lie. And it's weakened your ability to stand up against racist attacks. Because that is the heart of the racist attack. That you put us in slavery. You did not do that. We put ourselves in slavery. See, the mistake that the Christians and the Jews made when they went to Africa, the merchants, to make commodity, and they saw slaves, they made the mistake of buying slaves.
Yes.
They allowed the God of money to rule them. That was their mistake. Now they're paying for that, for the generations. But the fact of the matter is, though, you've got to relieve yourself of this mindset that you enslaved the black man. You did not do that. And if you don't have that in your mind clear, you can't have a race conversation with us. Not really. And if we as black folks, if we keep running around saying that God, the white man enslaved us, God can say, stop lying. I'm not going to bless you. As much as we black people go to church and shout and praise Jesus and cut the food and carry on, you would think our community would be prospering. But we're dying. Illegal aliens are killing us off, wiping us out, we're wiping ourselves out. Where's God? The reason is because we are telling God a lie about our white brothers. And he's not going to bless us. So, if we're going to have a conversation about race, it's not all about what white people have done to black people. It's about how we together got here by our ancestors. In my opinion, none of us in this room today are guilty for what happened yesterday. Right. It's not our fault. We were not there. We did not own slaves. We did not kill Indians. We didn't do any of that stuff. We don't have time. However, we are responsible, personally responsible for what our ancestors left us. To correct it, to alter it, so it doesn't go into the next generation. That is the will of God. That is America. Yes, sir.
Let me ask a question to have you maybe further direct what you're talking about, because I agree with most of that. Just as an example, the Irish at one time was not called white. There was whites, blacks, and Irish. So I guess my question to you is, if racism existed, but it's not our fault today because it was in the past, it's my magic question. How many generations does it take until you say you have no more excuse? I mean, I'm a second generation American. My father said, I'm a first generation American. He arrived here as an immigrant. But he said, you get one generation as an excuse. After that, you better be speaking English. You better... It's about the prior generation because they legitimately had some beefs. But if you don't have this concept that the next generation is supposed to be better than the prior one, I guess my question to you is, how many generations do you get before you say,
whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Especially if you read the Civil Rights Act of 1866. But let me show you something that's very interesting about America that we don't pay much attention to. And it's a reality, okay? It's a reality. There's basically, other than Native Americans, let's put them aside right now. There are two basic stocks of Americans. And there's what they call it, a nation of what?
Immigrants.
What do they call it?
Immigrants.
A nation of what?
Immigrants.
That's a lie. Say straight up, it's a lie. It's very offensive to say that. It's very offensive. Because if it's a nation of immigrants, who am I? I didn't ask to come here. Yeah. We didn't immigrate here. See, the immigrants came to this country willingly, with the American dream in their eye, to succeed or fail, whatever happens for generations to come. Wonderful immigration stories. I salute them. Fabulous. Wonderful. Brave people. On the other hand, these folks here. We didn't come on the Mayflower willingly. We came on something called the Good Ship Jesus. It was the first slave ship to land in America in Jamestown. And that's how we came. Now, immigrants, I'm gonna say y'all, immigrants came like this. Show you how we came. Literally. If you wonder why we, been here longer than anybody else, lead in every negative social statistic in the country, from 1865, when we were set free from slavery, to this present now, the reason why we have that is the reason why we lead that negative statistic is because of the way that we were brought into this country. Now that has nothing to do with race or color, because the people put us on them boats, look just like me. Okay, so when race came in as a cover to excuse things later. This was a human experience. What would you do if your ethnic group or your group was put in wooden slave ships, chained with people you don't know, total strangers, some are enemies, and filth, brought to a nation, put in plantations, etc. 225 years of an institution living like that, children on down. Then immediately after set free from slavery, the very same day, Jim Crow laws were passed, being passed, black codes against us for 99 years. Then in 1964, when the Jim Crow laws ended, something came in called the Civil Rights Act of 1964, social welfare. For 48 more years, these same people have suffered under failed government social programs. Now these same people are being inundated by a bunch of people from another country here illegally. How do you expect people to get out? I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying, how would your folks do? They weren't fair to it at all. So I'm saying, don't be too quick to say, well, my people made it. You should be able to make it too. It don't happen like that. That's not reality. Yes, ma'am.
Remind them that we did not speak the same language
No.
on the ship. We were tied to people that we did not only not know, but they were from a different nation. All Africans are not from the same language.
Exactly. We didn't like each
There are
other.
more
We
than
each other.
800 languages in Africa. And then they were tied together. Now we can go over there and be civilized, but then there was no civilization as far as you being from another nation. Even though we were the same color, we did not speak the same language. And we came over here, but with people talking to us under a different language, and you ask us why today are we still the same. We're still trying to find out who we are. Don't talk about us again, unless you understand, unless you go back to the ship, unless you go back to the country, unless you find out what it felt like not to know who you're sitting with, and who's kicking you, and all those other things that we went through on the ship. No, I wasn't there, nor my mother, nor my grandparents, nor my great-grandparents. But what? We live it every day. In schools, we live it. In schools today, we still live it. My granddaughter lived it a few last year, running in California, in Merced, a very racist country, and the most prettiest person in that pageant, and still because she was black. She got no awards for that. Don't talk to us about what and why are we still running behind. We are still not accepted in the only country we know. This is the only land we have. America, the same flag that all Americans fly under, we still are treated different. I'll get back to you.
That's Roxy. Please don't misunderstand when Roxy don't talk to us. We want you to talk to us, but I think what she's saying is try to understand the roots of where we came from. We're not excusing anything. We're just letting you know what it is that you're looking at. Yes, sir.
So back to my original question, but how many generations?
I don't know, sir. I have no
Well,
idea.
paraphrase you, my grandfather came here in 1954.
But your grandfather coming slave.
Speaking a different language with nothing. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying his generation sucked. He had it bad. So he could say, that's my excuse. But just like you said, I didn't put anybody in this room on slave ship. So how many generations do you get before
Well,
we
have you ever read the Civil Rights Act of 1866?
No, sir.
You need to. I challenge you to read that. All of you, go to 10days.us, 10days.us, scroll down and you see all that. And when you get the knowledge, you'll understand how that works. The Civil Rights Act of 1866, Section 1 says this, that basically the freed slaves, it's like 1866, the freed slaves are to be guaranteed life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, as is enjoyed by white citizens. Now, the Republicans who put this document together, it's called the Civil Rights Act of 1866, they recognize that a generation from now or so, a new Congress can come along and repeal this act. Because they knew that these people just come through 225 years of institutionalized chattel slavery are going to have problems for generations to come in their children. That's just the nature of genetics, memory, and all that kind of stuff. So let's put something in there that permanentizes this in the Constitution. So they came up with the 14th Amendment. And therefore, by the 14th Amendment, which is the parent, or which is the child of the Civil Rights Act, this act was codified through the 14th Amendment into the Constitution. And so what the Constitution is telling you, until you fix this, when equitably, the people who experience chattel slavery and Jim Crowism, when they are equitably enjoying America as is enjoyed by white citizens, that means immigrants, including a black Nigerian who came here willingly. When we achieve that, that's when it's over. And until then, you will see the calamities that we are crying the blues about striking America. That's biblical. James. No, well, let me hear, sir.
You've all heard the saying, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
What many of you don't know is that there's a mistranslation. It's divide and rule.
And
It's not about divide and rule.
Rule, yes, sir.
It's not about the military. It's about politics. Divide and rule was the policy of Caesar toward the subject peoples, to set them against each other, to divide them, to make them enemies of each other. If we are divided, white against black, against Asian, against Hispanic, if we're divided, Democrat against Republican, liberal against conservative, and everybody against the libertarian wackos. I am one of those wacko words, by the way.
We're against you. Get out of here.
If we are all divided amongst ourselves, we forget about who it is that rules us. We've been trained to believe that we have a benign government. In fact, we believe that we govern ourselves. That's not true. We can protest. The Tea Party began with a protest against the Turk bailouts. 90-to-1 calls were saying, don't do this. If ever the people of America united, it was when we said, don't do this.
Right.
Congress got a few phone calls from the wealthy people on Wall Street and said, oh, yes, right away, we will do it. We need to realize our enemy is in Washington, D.C. It's in Wall Street. We need to start winning the battle in our minds. It's not here between you and me. Oh, no. The battle is in our own heads. We need to find out why it is we aren't thinking clearly.
And this is what I'm trying to help you to understand. Whether you like it or not, you have been born into a nation that was already divided.
Right.
Abraham Lincoln himself said that.
That's
it is
correct.
a house divided against itself. We were born that way, July 4, 1776.
That's correct.
In fact, the founding fathers almost destroyed the nation in the womb. Because some of them were saying, hey, this is morally wrong with what we're saying in this document. The Declaration of Independence, this can't stand. Property, happiness is property. Slaves, that's why they changed it. The other group of founding fathers said, no, this is what God has given us to bless us in prosperity, and we're going to keep it. And if you guys insist on that, forget about the coming together of the union. And so the founding fathers recognized, wait a minute, this is too important. Tell you what, for the sake of the union, we'll continue chattel slavery.
because we did inherit it, and we'll have to fix it down the road. And of course, if you study this, sir, Congress was working on it. Keith, when did Congress outlaw slavery in the United States?
Oh man, you had to ask me.
1780, 81? 1781?
70, actually, actually in 1776 when they signed the Declaration, there were many of the founders released their slaves, and of course they were recaptured. And then you've heard of the 1820 the Missouri Compromise, and KKK comes about, and they begin to recapture the slaves.
But the United States itself outlawed bringing slaves into the United States in 1881, somewhere in there like that.
Well, George Washington signed the Northwest Ordinance in 1789. It was just after the Constitution was signed, and that actually limited slavery in itself. That's Article 6.
So the founding fathers was trying to end this thing because they knew the disaster would come. And Thomas Jefferson said, when I think of God and chattel slavery, I tremble for my nation. Abraham Lincoln said Jefferson was his mentor. He understood clearly in the middle of the Civil War that it was not about the economy. It was not about politics and states' rights. It was about, we had a declaration about human rights. And we're holding not black people, not Africans. We're holding human beings in slavery. And if we don't emancipate them, the proclamation, God will destroy the Union. And when he did that, God did spare the Union, but he said, Lincoln warned the Gettysburg Address, if we don't finish this business, we will lose this government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And that's where we're at right now. We say, well, you know, the country, we're going to lose the country. You're doggone straight you're going to lose the country. As long as we do not finish this business of chattel slavery, we're going to lose the country. Here, sir.
I wanted to ask you relative to what this young lady said about all the African countries and the African slaves. Wouldn't it be offensive to call blacks in America African Americans?
Sir, we are not African Americans.
Amen.
Amen. We are not African Americans. That little snake pick on us. Okay, we're not African Americans. We are Americans.
Amen.
We are United States citizens. Okay? I met a white lady from South Africa. Very, very white lady. Very, very white lady. And she's from South Africa. Guess what? She was born there, lived all over Africa. She is more African than I am. She's a true African American. So no, we're Americans. This Marine fought, this veteran here fought for America. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Oh, before you go there, but what we are doing this though, sir, is this. As far as what we're being called, for me personally, I can't speak for everybody else. I've been eliminating out of my vocabulary as much as possible, and out of my website writing since African American, to describe us as people, black, Negro, colored. I'm eliminating that. What I am is a long term. What I am is I'm a descendant of the chattel slaves and a Jim Crow survivor. Has nothing to do with color or race. Because when you say African American or race, you know what minorities, immigrant minorities do? They jump on our backs. You know what gays do? They jump on our backs. Rich white women on our backs. And you wonder why we can't get up. Because everybody's on our backs. You know what I mean? Now the illegal aliens, they're coming over here on our back. You see, this is the mystery. This is the mystery. When you look at us homeless, do you realize that we're maybe 12% of the nation's population in all? But we are over 60% of the homeless population. Something's wrong with that. Now, are we just mentally ill? Are we just lazy, no good for nothing thugs that want to be on Democrat welfare as a people? Is that who we are? Do y'all really think that's who we are? No. We are a people who have experienced something. So we are descendants, as you say, immigrants, then we are descendants of the chattel slaves. You think it's a shameful thing? No, because we didn't put ourselves in it. And we built this nation, it is built on our backs. And if you say you're a nation of immigrants, then we'll say we are a nation of chattel slaves, immigrant, because if it wasn't for our back immigrant, you would not have a nation to stand on, sir. That's all we're saying. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Then we'll come to you, sir.
I appreciate that, you know, like you and the group of
Descendants of chattel slaves and Jim Crow.
I know we are American, I know, but because, you know, I can, just forgive me, because sometimes we have to say the rules so we can recognize, say I'm Asian American, you African American. So I know it's a, you know, in Tea Party, it's a, you know, like we never see a lot of African picture.
People like us.
Yes. Now, I agree that you say it's the past, it's a pushed away, and then we look into her hand. Now, when you, and I appreciate if you can, you know, like your group go out and talk to your community. Because at your point, I agree, that is, you know, like, you take example, you say, because of the color, it's not mean they bring all the African to be a slave. It's they can bring any color to be a slave at that time. That is the point. It's, you know, so now if I don't want the people, you know, understand about the slavery and use that as a stick. Every conversation, I am Asian. And sometimes I feel really bad for white friend. Every time, you know, when we argue on something, then it's the color always say you racist. And the white people, you know why they're afraid? Because they keep the stick. Because the stick about racism will win anytime.
Absolutely correct.
Exactly. So now if the African can go to the community, open their mind and talk about that, I really admire Bill Cosby because he say you need to fix your small community before say anything else.
Ma'am, I'm glad you brought Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby knows who I am. I've tried on numerous occasions to work with Bill Cosby. The brothers from the hood. We say, Cosby, why you talk bad about us like that? You're right in what you say. But brother, work with us to fix that. You know, Cosby won't work with us. You hear a lot of these people talk about how messed up black folks are, how black people need to take responsibility. Black. Wait a minute. Hold up. Show some answers. Pecans, black conservatives. Don't tell a person who's broken, get up. It's not fair. It's not justice, is it?
You know, I'm new here, but what I'm saying is that, you know, I disappoint when I admire Oprah, and now she go there and she say it's a racist.
And this is partly why we're doing this today, because we want to remove the race card off the table. But the only way to remove the race card off the table, you've got to face that thing and understand where it comes from so you can cut it off at its roots. That's why I said I'm removing the color words out of my vocabulary and talk more about the experiences of a people.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, if anyone go to Savannah, I in the trip in Savannah, Georgia, you know, like you will see over there is a no color at all. I can see the, you know, African, Asian, and white people work in the cotton field. And when I go to the restaurant or any gas station, you know, like we see like they call and they joke them, they say, hey, nigger, you know, and they hug each other, white and black. And you know, and they call the Chinese guy, hey, way low, and they hug and drink
and granted, you know, ma'am, and granted, there are those circumstances here and there throughout. No one's questioning that. All we're saying is if someone can call you a racist and you cower under that, then there's something in you that needs to be fixed. If you are not confident in who you are as an American, then people come in and tell you what America is and is not, and you'll cower under. And look, maybe you're not cowering under, but look at the state and the fate of the nation, which is controlled and run by dominant people like you, white folks, okay, immigrants. And the reason you're losing the country is because people like Oprah can pick up the race stick and hit you over the head and you cower to it. You realize Mr. Obama, had he looked like this man right here, would have been gone a long time ago? What keeps him there is his skin color. Come on, people, admit it. Admit it. And he may stay all the way through his whole term.
What got him there?
Because, I'm sorry, that's what got him there. Come on, people, but why? Because you have black folks saying, well, it's time for a black president. And we disobeyed Martin Luther King. King said, do not judge or be judged based on your skin color or what you look like, for bad or for worse, but on your character. Black folks ignored that and we slapped him in the face and walked on his grave. But white folks also disobeyed the man. Because y'all said it's time to make history. And even the conservatives, John McCain could have taken him out. But he refused on Benghazi alone.
Let me tell you why.
Because again.
No, wait.
No, you hold me. Because of skin color.
Let's do it.
Let's wait. The turn.
So everybody else is speaking up.
Sir.
Okay.
I really, like, I feel like you're talking about this disease in me.
Yes, sir.
About this, like, guilt. I'm a bad guy.
Yes, sir.
Before I got here.
Yes, sir.
And, like, it's like a bad dream, and how can we get it out of ourselves? What's the medicine? If I could wake up and have that dream in Martin Luther King, where you and I, we all get judged on the content of our character, and we stop responding the way they trained us.
Right.
How do we do that?
But what you just did right there, in front of these people here, what you did, that's, what's it, cathartic? Is that the word?
Yeah.
You're venting that out, and I'm saying to you, sir, one of the part of sickness that's in you is that you believe for so long that you put me in slavery, when you, as white people, didn't do that. You got to get out of that, because that makes you sick. It's a lie. You're embracing a lie. And for us to keep landing on you, we're embracing a lie that we can't be blessed either. So you got to get absolved of that. However, you must take responsibility for the part that you did by slaves. Now, we deal with that, but you didn't start it. That's what you got to get over. Once you get over that and talk about these things and study these documents weren't written by black people, people like me. These documents by people like you, your founding fathers. Because they was looking out not for black people. Your founding fathers was looking out for human beings.
And they knew it was wrong.
They knew it was wrong. And that's why God sent the Civil War. Those young white boys, most of them never saw, those northern boys never saw a black person or slave. Yet here they were, southern boys, white boys, cousins, killing each other over this issue. And 150 years later, our God, Declaration of Independence, is obviously saying to us, you're going to lose this nation if you don't fix this. You got to get your souls healed so I can give you the power to chase the invaders out of your land. Sir.
Okay. You got a question about wait.
All right, let's go to Lady. We heard you. Let's go to Lady. And let's, folks, what I would like to do, sorry with you, Michael, if we can stay focused on the racial issue, and let's not go through all the economy and stuff, because if we can heal this, we can fix the other stuff. Because that's how they're beating us. They're not beating us on the facts. They're not beating us on logic. They're beating us on the race issue.
Okay.
Ma'am, sir, please, ma'am. Sir, please, ma'am.
For me, for instance, I believe that Obama was elected not for his race, but for his social issues, his social stance. And I believe behind that is John Kerry, who was the one who had to pick Obama because he has the right ideas, he has the right skin color, and I believe that he brought everybody to go behind Obama, even just to knock Hillary Clinton off the radar. And another thing is, and I can almost think what they're thinking, that Obama is not an African American.
No, he is an African American. That he is.
Well, African American.
He ain't one of us. He ain't one of us. He ain't one of us.
He's a true African American. And that's an African American. But as I call myself. He did not think that an American black would be elected. A socialist white.
American black is not elected.
Will not. People would not elect them. That's what they thought. And so socialist white would not be elected. So he had to have the combination of both to get everybody in. But I don't believe they could care less whether a black person could become a president. And to me, I believe that it's like Michael Phelps. I mean, he gets all this. The black Americans work so hard from slavery to today, and they work so hard to get somebody else to take the piece of the action, which is the presidency. So I think that they really got cheated out of it. And I believe that it's just like Michael Phelps just touches the wall, and then somebody decides to put somebody else instead of giving him the medal. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Again, sir, please.
Okay, listen closely, because let's get back to why they do the race card, and this goes across the board. If you can't, by the way, I've been trained in debate. By the way, Nixon and Kennedy were top debaters in college before they came in, they did debate. If you can't attack a message, attack the messenger, and when they do that,
they lost.
Do they have a hidden agenda? No matter if they're left or right, be suspicious. They're doing it because they either have a weak argument,
Yes.
or there's something that they're trying to hide.
Of course.
Whoever, this just goes across the board. So if they can't attack the message,
Yes.
you're a racist.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to say.
You're right, sir.
Thank you.
Let's go to, yes, ma'am.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to say a couple things. One, I'd love you to talk a little bit about George Bush. I think the smartest thing he ever said, and God knows whether he wrote it or not, but when he talked about the soft bigotry of low expectations. The civil rights issue of our time is education, and that the failure of public education can be laid exactly at the foot of the Democratic Party, because they have controlled it for the last 50 years, and we've gone down the tubes. If you go to IQ Squared, the debate at IQsquared.com, I think it was a debate club started by Westminster Abbey Institute, and my husband Larry Sand, as some of you know, was part of that debate with Rod Page, who was Secretary of Education under George Bush, and Terry Moe, a Democrat professor of political science at Stanford, on one side, and Randy Weingarten and two other people on the other side, debating whether or not we can hold the unions responsible for the failure of public education in this country. And we're in New York City, the heart of the biggest school district and the most liberal school district in the country, biggest unionized school district in the country. We're at NYU, and we thought we'd get killed. But once we had a level playing field, for once we had a level playing field, and we got to get our side out without being filtered through the mainstream press. And it was as lopsided as we feared at the end. It was 27-1 in our favor. And that's what happens, but okay, I'll get there. But we need education. They are incredibly vulnerable in education, and they own the Democratic Party. The teachers union owns the Democratic Party. That's number one. Number two, I'm a huge, and I'll try to keep this quick, but can you address, and I know my associate doesn't agree with me, but I believe that there's only one person in this country that can heal what you're talking about and unite and save this country. I believe this with all my heart. And that's a guy named Dr. Ben Carson.
Absolutely
Amen. Right. Dr. Ben Carson, and I know Star Parker has said her dream team is Ted Cruz and Dr. Ben Carson. But he just said recently because he's got the great American story. It's about as dramatic as you could get. And we don't run him as a black man. We run him because he is, to me, has the best values and can unite the country. And we've got to get him in the race. He just told Dennis Prager recently that Dennis Prager said, what is it going to take to get you to run? Because he does not have that fire in the belly. And what he said for the first time, and before he always sent a message from God, and what he said for the first time on Dennis Prager is a draft. That means us guys, the Republican Party cannot draft him. We have to draft him, get him into the Republican Party, fix the Republican Party, and get the independents. I mean, I think this guy would win in a landslide. Yeah, that's my
Yes, sir.
I don't know.
I'm gonna address the group by saying this. We the people. Now, we have a mental illness as a country. And when you have a mental illness, if you have a mental illness, when you see someone who's suffering from a mental illness, they're incompetent. And the disease is post-traumatic slave syndrome. The diagnosis is post-traumatic slave owners syndrome. And so what you have is that there must be a union to work together to eradicate that. We need therapy for this illness. When I hear a lot of people, and when you hear some people who are suffering from this illness, in my personal opinion, some may be incompetent. They may say things that don't make no sense. You know, they may do a whole lot of things. But like somebody who suffers from mental illness, can we fault these people for suffering from an illness? Right. I say that we join together in the healing process. It's all about therapy to, I guess, mitigate the illness.
Yeah, again, folks, yeah, see, and our enemies recognize that mental illness. The socialists recognize it very well. They see it. And they see us in a double-minded state. They see what Abraham Lincoln called a what? A nation what? Divided against itself over what? Over what though? Race. Right. Where'd that come from? Chattel slavery. So the issue is fix that. Where? At a place where Dr. King said, I dreamed up one day that the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will sit down together at the table of brotherhood and do what? Just what we're doing right now. No one's blaming you here. No one's blaming us here. We are talking about healing a wound so we can defeat the enemy. That's right. Sure.
My name is Shirley Hussar. I write for the Washington Times, Community Washington Times, out of Washington, D.C. I started an organization called Urban Game Changer. That means that we go into the community and we hold elected officials accountable. Everything that we're talking about, I wrote about it 2 years ago. It's called embedded racism. So if you study embedded racism, you realize even though you see it not a racist, there's just things that you do. We see a black person, we lock our doors. Exactly. When 9/11 hit, we looked at every Armenian person who had something wrapped around their head. We walked a different way. And you say, well, I'm not racist, but we do things that are embeddedly just but the way this country drives racism in. Racism is pushing this country to economically suppress those who do not have. So you identify that. Just keep that in mind. This is the point I want to make because I want people to leave with a solution. We can all be angry. I call myself pretty much Hulk. I mean, superhero because I always think about the fact that I'm always angry, but I keep it controlled. We need to leave with a solution. So my solution is this. Identify, every black person has a different opinion on being called black or African American or whatever. Don't make that issue. Just basically listen. Listen to people. Find what their community needs. Don't focus on Obama as much as you need to focus on identifying the issue with that person. If it has to do with Obamacare, ask them, why do you like it? Why do you not like it? Learn the Constitution and attack them constitutionally, not racially, not even economically. Attack them constitutionally and say, how does that apply towards the Constitution? I want you all to leave here. Remember, urbangamechanger.com, our website's being restructured, and I want you to identify that it starts within all of us. I work with the Latino and the Asian community. I dance with Latino and Asian people and all cultures of people. And I don't go by if I'm black or African. I don't focus on all that energy. The racist issue is live and well. It is a virus. It really is a root in this country. I don't think it'll ever go away. I think people will always have racism because it runs in the bloodline of America. What I think Ted wants us to all identify is that we need to be awake that it exists. So what is the next step? Get involved with these different cultural communities. I work with the Chinese community in Alhambra, work with the Latin community. Learn the culture of the people. Then you can address the race issue and you're not so tense within inside of you.
Some of us have to say, just man.
I would like to just add into the mix a certain basic that's not that I believe that human nature has prejudice. It's
Natural.
not culture, it's not nation, it's not country. A few
Natural
anecdotes is my son's father was Algerian. Had nothing to do with black, but he was in Africa. Algerian, and the parents did not want him to marry their daughter because he was too dark. Can you say that, Mom?
He was too dark.
He was too dark. The parents didn't want him to marry their daughter because he was too dark.
Okay.
So here in every culture, there's the prejudice towards something. I did a study on redheads in history. And we were prejudiced against because we caused the bubonic plague because our skin had red blotches on it.
Wow.
And we were so white
Wow.
and pale looking, we caused plague. We have time for 2 more.
Okay, 2 more. Roxy, don't leave yet, please.
Oh, no, I gotta do that break.
Huh?
I had to do that break, because you were spotlighting me. I gotta do that break.
Okay, look, I want to see if we go.
Okay, thank you.
We got 2 more. Dr. Tunde.
You know, one thing I'm getting out of this, and I had to come to grips with it, I was an angry young black man.
Can't hear you, sir.
I said, I was an angry young black man coming up in the military and all that kind of thing. I'm not even black, I got Germany in me, and a lot of other things. But the point is, I finally came to realize how great this country is. You know, we're talking about the experiment. I guess it could be an experiment.
The American experiment, what it is, it's an experiment. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not.
I've traveled around the world, loved a lot of places, but this is the best place.
Yeah.
Amen.
So
Amen.
glad when I came back to America.
Amen.
So, regardless of who's here, black, white, yellow, red, we're Americans. If we embrace that ideal. So if it's not a good ideal, get rid of it.
Absolutely. Jay, by the way, I want to say this, folks. When we end today, if it's okay, it would be great if afterwards, can we still be in? We have to go outside.
We have to go outside.
Let's go outside and please talk. If you never met these folks here, y'all never met these folks here, deliberately, just go up to each other, shake hands, introduce yourselves, and enter into a conversation. Just don't stop throwing no kisses. Jay Smith.
I think what most immigrants when they first come here fail to realize, you didn't have no Jim Crow laws. You didn't have Jim Crow laws. I couldn't even come to this theater. I had to go on that side. White European foreigners, immigrants go on this side.
Come on now.
So you was always able to achieve more than we could ever achieve, and we the ones built this country. Cotton made America what America is today. And as far as Obama, y'all have responsibility too.
Amen.
Obama mother looks like y'all.
Right.
Not like my mom.
Right.
Right. So you need to get off. You need to get off the race thing because Obama is multiracial.
Thank you very much.
His mother is white.
Thank you very much.
So I don't know why y'all all upset.
Right.
Y'all need to be upset with
His
yourselves too.
grandparents raised him. His
Because he
white
ain't doing nothing for neither one of us.
He always lived with his white family, always.
Always.
Never lived with
So
black
that's what I
people,
said.
ever.
And that's what we need to do is, and for all these people say they Asian Americans, all this stuff. I was born and raised in Mississippi.
Okay.
You was either white, black, or foreigners. And if you took the oath of office, I served this country to protect everybody. If I took the oath of office and say, who's the next group coming in? Who's going to be the next group coming in? When you took the oath of office, if you read the Constitution, to be an American citizen, you had to denounce the country that you came from. You only had to pledge allegiance to America.
Yeah.
So now we also got the Asian America. If you came to America for one thing,
To be American.
to be American.
Right.
If you want to be Asian American, stay in Asia. It tells me that tells me all foreigners, all immigrants that came here couldn't survive. They wasn't that great in their country. So now all of a sudden they want to make us this part of their country. It's not the melting pot. The founding fathers say, I want everybody to come here and make this a melting pot. You come here as an American citizen. You want the rights and the privileges of America. So why I gotta go to the Chinese neighborhood to figure out what the Chinese need? Why I gotta go to all these neighborhoods? If you came here to be American, you read the Constitution, understand what America wants. That's our whole problem. That's why they divide us. All of a sudden, everybody's different ethnicity. What the heck is that? I'm an American citizen. I fought for this country. And all these immigrants came here. Go look at the history. Tell me how many foreigners fought in the Civil War, the American, all these wars, and tell me how many of y'all was there. That's all I gotta say.
I'm a teacher, and I want to say I used to work in a predominantly white area, but I grew up in a predominantly black area. I was the first one that rode on the bus that, for immigration. And so I really want to address his question about how many generations does it take. The facts are still hitting about every time we do get on our feet as
Ma'am, if I
people.
can just clarify this, not how many generations does it take, it's how many generations can you use as an excuse.
That's not an
Okay,
excuse, it's a fact.
I'm gonna explain that to you, because that excuse word got me. Because you really don't understand our plight or our story, because we only get it out in very small increments. The real story is that when we do come together as a people and our fathers are taken away, just like they were in slavery. Men are always taken out of our community.
Right.
In the 60s, they brought in welfare.
Welfare.
The laws of welfare made African Americans, whatever. When I grew up, everybody had a daddy on the street. Then but they had low jobs, or they had, like all our men worked and had a business on the side. That's why.
Yeah. Come on now.
Okay? But then they brought in welfare, which told the fathers, your families will be better off without you because they can get medical coverage.
Amen. Come on.
So the men said, okay, hey, go ahead and get on that because I want my children covered.
Right.
Then the fathers had to hide because they wanted their families to have the same medical coverage that Obama's bringing now to the poor. That we're saying we don't need.
Right.
So it's always been about, let me cover my children because I have a low-income job, and my wife, I want her and her kids to be able to get some medical coverage. So then you put that, then the fathers hid, and then what they do, then they bring in more cameras, then the man just totally runs, and then they say, oh, that's free money. Go ahead, get the free money, ladies. Go ahead, get the free money. Then they turn around 20 years later and say, hey, all you men that ran, now you owe them. That was never free money. Now you got to go underground because they're taking 80% of their checks. Who can live under 20% in here?
Of a low income
job. That's what African American men are faced with. Did your father have to deal with that?
No.
And that's why we got men on Skid Row.
Right.
That's why, and if you look through anything, animals will even show you. If you take the men out of any group of people, then the teenagers go wild.
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
That's what we're dealing with.
So thank you, Barbara. Very good. Okay, so we got to wrap this up.
Excellent.
No, excuse me. Do you know your daddy? Well, ask an African American, do they know theirs?
Yes, very.
They don't.
But that's society.
That's not society. That's an African American society.
Okay.
Everybody else knows their father and their father's father. Our fathers had to run and hide, go underground, do things illegally, because when you do things legally, their checks are attacked and they don't have enough to provide for their family.
That's correct.
Every man wants to provide for his family.
Right.
That's it. Thank you.
Very good, Barbara. Very good.
Outside and speak some
Can
more.
we do this again?
Yeah, can we do this again? This is
By the
great.
way, that's what I want to say earlier. Look, we just scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
We propose, as this lady's saying here, that we do this again.
Will you host it?
We will host it.
Then we'll go to you.
Twice as many people here.
Everybody
bring somebody.
Okay, but now listen, and we'll call it America.
Yeah.
We're coming to America. And I think while it's warm, it's hot, we should not let it wait. We should do it at ASAP.
Right.
I don't know what this costs, but we should get back there again, and let's do this again. And I think we should have more time, and I think what we should do is break up into workshop groups, little groups, and have conversation and come back together again.
And,
When?
Why? This works great.
We got to make a date today.
No, we don't.
Figure it out.
This works great, Ted.
Sure you do.
Would everyone take a flyer on their way out and visit our website? It is,
lasmtparty.org.
yes, and we'll announce on that.
And go to tedhays.us, read that material, it's nuanced, it'll upset you a little bit, but you work through it and it'll be okay. And let's heal our country, y'all.
I'm actually